Is the Xbox Lockhart going to be a lot weaker than we thought compared to the Series X for next gen? Let's chat about that. Anybody on mic? What's up, chat friends? Welcome to another episode of In-Game Chats, where we discuss gaming news and everything leaks. So, The Verge just released a report talking about Xbox Lockhart, which is supposed to be the second console that Microsoft releases along with the Series X. And it's supposed to be weaker and cheaper compared to the Series X. In the report, which I'm going to link in the description, The Verge talks about how it's going to be targeted towards 1080p and 1440p gaming, but have some of the same benefits and features such as an SSD and fast loading times, but won't have as high of a resolution as the Series X and won't be as powerful or as expensive. And so in the report, they basically have leaked documents that kind of have a special Lockhart mode within games that developers can develop for when optimizing for the Series X and the lower end Lockhart. And they basically talk about within this mode that it has 7.5 gigabytes of usable RAM compared to the Series X, the higher end 13.5 gigabytes of RAM. And the Lockhart, the lower end Lockhart, is going to have 4 teraflops of GPU, and the higher end Xbox Series X has 12 teraflops. So that's about 3 times the flops, 3 floppies. So it's interesting that they would kind of, release these two different consoles that are, one is targeting the higher end, 4K gaming, 120, whatever, 60 frames per second, depending on the game. And then this lower end 1080p, 1440p, next gen console. It's interesting, their strategy, because it's kind of different from the way that Sony and the PlayStation 5 is being positioned, in that the PlayStation 5, it's the same internal, console specs, just one has a disc slot and one does not have a disc slot, but it's the same internals. And so basically Sony is saying we have this one platform, developers can develop for one, specific set of specs, and you either have a choice of going with the disc or going discless. Versus, Microsoft is kind of coming out with one higher end expensive, it's probably going to be, $500-$600 in an Xbox Series X, and then a lower end, kind of lower tier Xbox Lockhart, which a lot of people are guessing is going to be called Series S. And it might come at, people are guessing $200, anywhere between $200 to $300 is my prediction. $299. If the Series X is $499 or $599, and then the Lockhart, the lower end Lockhart, is $299 or sub $299, that would be 2 different price points. But you'd still get the benefits of next gen with the faster load times and compatibility and things like that, but you wouldn't be gaming in 4K, which a lot of people don't have. Some people don't have 4K TVs yet, and they're fine with, they have 1440p monitors and they're fine with, 1440p performance, with, higher frame rates. But, it's interesting the 2 different strategies these companies are having. The 2 different pricing structures, in that the PlayStation 5 most likely they'll be maybe $50-$100 difference in terms of the disc version and the discless PlayStation 5 hardware, versus Xbox It's going to have the, the Xbox Series X $500-$600 high-end price point, and then the lower end Lockhart, which is $299 to $200, and they could even have that one be discless as well. Just all digital, cheaper, 1440p next gen gaming, and that would be an interesting strategy that they would have, and place them in this lower end market. Because these are two different strategies. Like Sony is doubling down on exclusives, and just one spec box for the PlayStation 5, and then Xbox is mostly focusing on services with the coming of xCloud and Xbox Live. You can play on PC and Xbox. They're focusing a lot on services and subscriptions. Right now you can subscribe to get an all digital Xbox One, and their Xbox Live and Game Pass all in one payment. So you're basically subscribing to a hardware subscription. It's a hardware subscription that you can pay monthly, and so they're really pushing services and games as a service with their Game Pass and Xbox Live and all that. And so they're trying to be ubiquitous in having different hardware choices. Not only can you choose the higher end Xbox that's more expensive, lower end Lockhart that's less expensive, and you can also PC gaming if you don't want to buy any Xbox hardware. So they're trying to be ubiquitous and be everywhere, versus Sony is having the strategy of, we have our exclusives, we have this box, only games can be found at Sony. All these first party games, God of War and Spider-Man and all these other games, can only be found there. So it's just interesting with these two different strategies, that they are, Xbox is definitely doing something different in terms of their hardware strategy. They have the higher end hardware, they have the lower end hardware. They're going to have the lower end hardware because, unless they scrap Lockhart and completely forget about this lower end hardware, they're going to be releasing, all rumors point to them releasing two different, higher end and lower end hardware SKUs. So it's just very fascinating for them to be coming at next gen at this different angle, get the higher end, get the lower end, as long as you're subbed into our subscription, Game Pass and Xbox Live, we're good, buy our box, don't buy our box. Versus Sony is definitely saying, hey, these exclusives are locked into this platform. If you want our first party titles like The Last of Us and God of War, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, you're going to have to buy our box. But I want to hear what you guys think. Is this strategy going to work? Are you going to care about if they come out with a lower end Lockhart? Is this something that could appeal to you? If you don't want to get a Series X and spend $500-$600 on that, I could probably, I would most likely be going for a Series X and not really going for a lower end, piece of hardware, because that's, you got PC gaming for that if you want something that's, lower, mid, higher end range. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Does this news of a lower end Lockhart, does this change your idea about possibly getting Xbox next gen hardware? If it has all the same features with SSD and all that stuff, except it's just a lower res game experience, would you be interested in that? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Put it in the comments and let's get a discussion going. All right, that was give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. Sub if you want to get in on the next chat. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.